Hey guys, Mr. Moopik here, back with another video, and today I have something really interesting to show off to you all, so be sure to stick around for the entire video because I've got a lot to cover. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into things with this brand new system of Redstone Alternatives. So whenever I say Redstone Alternatives, you probably think of the things I used to use in a lot of my old videos, such as signs and cacti and sand and gravel and water and stuff like that, but in my opinion, those are kind of outdated, and with this new system, it can be completely replaced. And the new system, I'm going to refer to it as Minecart Alternatives for this video. So if I happen to say old Redstone Alternatives in this video, know that I'm talking about sand and gravel and stuff like that. That is not Minecart. So first things first, I'm going to cover some of the properties of Minecarts, kind of why they work, how they do, and how they will work with these logic gates, which is really the main idea of this video. The logic gates. If you don't know what a logic gate is, I would highly recommend just go to Google and type it in and learn about it just a little bit, because it's kind of hard to explain and I don't want to take the time, so figure out what they are. Otherwise, I'll do my best to explain once we get there. So let's go ahead and get started with kind of how minecarts are affected by other blocks. So we've got two models here. We've got one with a solid block on the end, one with a glass block or a transparent block. So in this case, we're just using an iron block. So when we push the minecart, obviously it just comes right back like it's bouncing off. So whenever we do this with a transparent block such as glass, it actually kind of has a glue on the side and it sticks to the side of the block. So these are some of the fundamental concepts that will actually make up a lot of the things we do with Minecart Alternatives here with logic gates and stuff like that. So that's kind of how they that's how they react with blocks. And so how they react with each other, I've just got two parallel rails here set up. One is twisted 90 degrees compared to the other, and there's a difference between these actually. So let's say we're going this way and they're right next to each other. They're not pushing off each other, they're just standing still, sticking around, just not doing anything. But if we were to do it this way, as you can see, they actually push off each other and start going along the rail. It's kind of weird. It's kind of stupid actually how the game is set up like this, but that's just the way it is. And you kind of, in order to figure out which way is the right way, literally all you have to do is set up parallel rails just like this. The reason that this is important is because for things like minecart diverters. So if you don't know what that is, I will link you down below to a guy's channel. His name is LuckPWH. He actually came out with the minecart diverter, or at least I would like to call him the original creator of it. So he's got a video over on his channel. I'll link you guys over there. Be sure to go watch it because it's extremely important concept to actually understand. So anyway, moving on, we're going to cover how animals in minecarts affects things, and then we're going to get into the logic gates. So you can have pigs or sheep or cows. I don't know if chickens work because they're pretty small, but I would recommend just using a sheep or a pig for this. But whenever you have when you have an animal in a minecart, that can actually affect other minecarts in, I don't know, a little model like this. So we've got two minecarts on some rails here, and I'm just going to go ahead and call it a pulse because that's what it looks like. That's what it seems like, appropriate name. But whenever you push this this minecart with a pig in it, it actually affects these because there's little corners. You can't see them really, but there's little corners that it actually clicks. Now let's say there was not an animal in this. If you were to push this minecart, it would not affect these other two minecarts. So that's just kind of something to take note of, how animals affect other minecarts like that. So those are kind of the fundamentals, the basics, just the underlining like why certain things work with minecarts. So for example, there's a glass block right here, and you might not have known. Okay, great, crap. I wonder why a couple of my signs disappeared, but it's okay. We're gonna go ahead and jump right in with our logic gates. So logic gates are basically the basics. I know I'm using kind of the same words here, but they're the basics. They're the fundamentals. Once again, there's that word of larger mechanisms, larger contraptions. So if you have not, oops, there's 10%. Okay, if you have not seen my update video, I will link you to that down in the description as well. Be sure to go watch it if you really want to know where I've been lately, why I haven't posted in forever. But over there's a calculator, and it's got lots of little AND gates and lots of little OR gates and stuff like that, making up the calculator as a whole. Although it's not done or anything, it's just what it's based on. And so these are just the fundamental building blocks of larger mechanisms, if you will. So we're going to go ahead and get started with an AND gate. So the AND gate is really simple. You've got an input 1 and an input 2, and then you've got your output. So you will only get an output if input 1 and input 2 are triggered. So hence the AND gate. So we're going to see this concept repeating here once we get into the other logic gates. So there's input 1. As you can see, we don't have an input, and if we were to go ahead and do input 2 as well, that's the time that we get an input whenever input 1 and input 2 are triggered. So we can reverse that, actually go input 2 first and then input 1, but with input 2, as you can see, no output until we actually do both of them. So now we've got our output because we did input 1 and input 2. So there's the AND gate. This is the OR gate. I'm going to go ahead and take these out because my other sign disappeared for whatever reason, but it's based off the same concept. If we got an input 1 and an input 2, but in this case it's input 1 or input 2 to get an output. So as you can see, voila, we have an output if we go input 1, and if we do input 2, voila, we have an output. They don't rely on each other. It doesn't matter whether you've got one or the other. They both work, and that's why it's called an OR gate. Input 1 or input 2 will give you an output. AND gate, input 1 and input 2 will give you an output. Now for the NOT gate, these are the three, by the way, these are the three basic logic gates. There's actually some more complex ones, other ones that I plan to cover in the future. And by the way, you might be asking yourself, well, couldn't you do these exact same things with signs and cacti and stuff like that? Really, the main reason why I see Minecart alternatives being more useful is because they are resettable. They're self-resettable. So let's say we had a minigame with, I don't know, with the old Redstone Alternatives. So you wanted to click a button on a wall that would affect, it would make some sand fall all the way across the map. So if you were to do that, you'd probably have a long sign chain all the way over to that wall, all the way over to that, the sand or whatever you wanted to fall. But once you click that button, those signs are gone forever. Once they're disappeared and the sand is fallen, that the sand can't rise back up and the signs can't replace themselves unless you want to go back and replace the map. So with minecarts, you can actually, you can have a little signal go do something, but it can come right back and reset itself so it can be clicked again or done again. That's why I see it being more important and way more effective, more useful, stuff like that. So that's just a reason, in case you guys were wondering, really, why in my opinion, I think this is better. So, moving on to the last logic gate we're going to be covering today, and that's the NOT gate. So, it's a little bit different. It doesn't have two inputs, but it has one input and a circuit trigger, is what I like to call it. So, with the input, basically, because it's a NOT gate, you get the opposite of your input. So if you were to put an input in, then obviously the opposite of that would be not an input. So once we start the circuit after putting our input in, or not putting it in, we will get an output based on what our input was. So we're going to go ahead and test this. We're going to go ahead and put an input here. So if we are to do that, then start the circuit once we've put our input in. So we put an input in to the circuit, and if we were to start the circuit, we will obviously not get it because it's opposite of what it should be. Okay, so we tried it with an input. Now let's try it without. Like I said, it's just the opposite of what your input is. So if we don't give an input, it will give us an output. As you can see, we've got our minecart flowing out because we did not give an input. So this is really exactly the same thing as an AND gate. It's built exactly the same, except for this little broken rail here. I spewed this off to the side. So because you actually have to place a minecart here for the NOT gate, I didn't want it coming all the way back right at you through the input. So, oh, that was my phone. Through the input, I broke it so it actually come out this way. So it just kind of, it's not necessarily necessary, but I feel like it's a good thing to do. I don't know. But here is the AND gate. We're going to go, that's pretty much it, by the way. So just a quick review. Here's the AND gate, here's the OR gate, and then here's the NOT gate. But you do have to put a minecart right in there. So if you want to build these for yourself, all you got to do is screenshot it or something. It's really simple, by the way. It's just diagonal blocks and then a block out here to stop the minecart when it comes off of this. So it'll stick there. But really, they're really quite simple. And hopefully you guys understood what I was talking about throughout this video. And if you did not, please go down to the comment section below and leave me a question or a concern or whatever you would like to tell me. Go down to the comment section. And while you're there, I do have a question. So for my next video, we're either going to cover the next set of logic gates, which are like XNOR gates and XOR gates, some more complicated stuff that honestly I'm not sure if I'm ready to record, if I really quite understand, so that might be an iffy, or I could make a video about the self-resetting versions of these logic gates, which in my opinion would be a better video to do. So I think I'm going to plan on doing that unless you guys absolutely want something else. So be sure to let me know what you'd like to see next down in the comment section below. That'd be absolutely awesome. And while you're at it, if you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like. That would be awesome. Hopefully I did my, well, I did do my best. I'm stumbling over my words, my gosh, but I did do my best to explain this. So if I did not, like I said, did not explain something quite well enough, leave me a comment and I will do my best to explain that out for you. So that has been all. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed me getting back in the swing of Redstone Alternatives, because it's just been boring update video after boring update video. Oh, and by the way, really quick shout out to FloppyDash for introducing me to this concept all the way back in the summer. So I've kind of taken off on my own and done certain things with it by myself, but he did introduce me to this concept, so I want to give him credit for that. So thank you, FloppyDash. I will link his channel down in the description below. But that has been all. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time.